And next up, we're going to have a partner panel discussion, and so I'd like to invite up Scott Paul from AppRiver and Julian Dyer from Cobweb, and if you would, please join me up on stage. Hey Scott, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey Scott,
Hey Julian, how are you?
Julian. Kelly,
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. You know, Kelly, I was just watching your talk, and I mentioned in the morning that in the afternoon we'd start looking towards the future. And nobody ever thinks of Office as a future-facing product, but you know, for all this time it's been utility. But everything I've seen from the demos to what you've been talking about, Office 365 feels like it's revolutionary to me.
Yeah, no, it is kind of funny to think about. You know, Office, again, one of the sort of oldest products, if you will, that we have at the company is really going through a massive transformation and a reimagination, if you will. And so it's very exciting to see that sort of taking place, and we hope that people will start to think of Office as being cool at some point. But yes,
well,
it's
I'm
exciting.
actually seeing it's cool because I work across multiple platforms and devices, from Android to Windows to iOS, and I'm using Office and all of that now, thanks to that. So I really love what you guys are doing. And obviously, this whole notion of being future-facing through Office 365 is the reason for this panel. We have two companies represented that have actually used this particular piece of software, this product, to do some remarkable things as they make their own transformation. So I thought we'd get into that conversation right now. Starting with Scott from AppRiver. Perhaps, Scott, you can just talk to us a little bit about your company and how you've used Office 365. You've been using it since the beginning, right?
Yes, AppRiver was one of the initial syndication partners in the US, and I think we lit up our first customer in August of 2011. Not that I'm counting, but it has become a strategically very significant business for us. It's broadened our Microsoft partnership, it's broadened our reach among customers, and probably most importantly for this session, it's broadened our reach among partners.
What happened? How did you have that vision that this was going to actually change things for the better?
I have no idea.
It was a very nascent product. I mean, so because you seized the moment here. You sort of said, this thing's new, it's different, I'm not quite sure what it is, but I just feel like it's going to do something for me.
So I think our success up to that point as an Exchange hoster maybe predispositioned us for some perspective and the groundwork that was required. We already had a great deal of experience in launching a large-scale SPLA hosting practice and building that out. We've always been channel first at AppRiver, so we knew that we had an ecosystem of partners that could take this to market. We talked to them, we talked to Microsoft a lot. In the end, I think there was a little bit of close your eyes and jump, but most of the hard work had been done at that point, and it felt fairly natural. By the time we got to the end of 2011, we were in the groove.
I think seizing the moment involves sometimes closing your eyes and jump.
A bit. Not as much as going to the space station.
No, but it can be a bit like that. You guys are also within the Cloud Solutions Provider Program. How's your business changed in that context?
You know, we're here to write that story this week, in part. I mean, that's an evolving thing. The CSP program will, I think it's already adding to the discussions that we've been having with our partners all along. It's bringing new products. I think Dynamics and Azure and EMS are going to, you know, we've been getting inquiries from our partners about these services for some time, so we're really excited about what CSP means for that.
That's great. Now, Julian, you've heard from Scott and AppRiver. They've jumped on this stuff early. They closed their eyes and leapt. In your situation, you guys have come to a little later, and there's been it sounds like a wholesale transformation of Cobweb.
Yeah, Cobweb is been known very similar to AppRiver in many ways as an Exchange hoster for 10 plus years. And our target audience is mainly small businesses and large numbers of small businesses. So over the years, we've looked at how we host and what we do, and we saw the opportunity with CSP. We pushed for access to it and and saw the ideas where we could aggregate services and pick and choose components of the Office 365 portfolio and deliver those as extra and expanded capabilities and solutions to our customers in the small and medium area of the business. So yes, we onboarded recently in early January, and we have our first few customers going through the process.
And how has it changed your business so far?
It's pivotal. I think we are transforming Cobweb. We've changed our brand, we've changed our view on the world, and we've changed our approach in how we describe Cobweb as a solution company to a liberating technology company. Our ideas are around taking the tyranny of small business IT and fixing it perhaps once and for all with the cloud, and that's our goal.
The tyranny of small business IT, that's quite well said. Kelly, you're hearing these two different scenarios in terms of how transformative Office 365 has been. Does that resonate for you from what you're seeing and what you're hoping?
Yeah, it does. You know, as I talk to partners and listening to Scott and Julian talk about their own experiences, I'd say it is quite common where, you know, in some cases, partners I talk to say they sort of fell into it. It was a natural extension from what they were doing and maybe didn't initially recognize the amount of change that it might bring. And then there are other partners, I think, who are very deliberate and sort of recognize from the outset, like, hey, this is going to be a big shift, and we're excited to go after it, but we got to rethink a whole bunch of different things. And so, yeah, I'd say that these are sort of common stories that at least I hear.
That's great. So let's take a shift now to more of a customer perspective. And Julian, I understand you actually have a customer on the line on Skype from the UK. Can you explain, introduce our guest?
Certainly introduce. Well, let me introduce to you Andrew Chamberlain from Hilton-Baird, who's on Skype on the south coast of the UK in the evening there. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us. Can you explain a little bit about your company?
Hi Julian, hello to everybody there. Good evening. Hilton-Baird Group, I'm the IT manager for the group. We're based in Southampton. We're a commercial finance brokerage and a debt collection agency. We work to help businesses of all sizes with cash flow. So as you can imagine, it's confidential and customized services, but it's very important that we have very effective communications. About a month after I joined the company, we had a complete failure of our on-site Exchange server and the backup server. Not a lot of fun. Doesn't look good on the CV either, though, I'll tell you. We've been considering moving to hosted Exchange in Office 365 previously, and we had talked to Cobweb because we knew they could provide us with Office 365 and a hosted Exchange service with a data store within the UK using the Cobweb London cloud. Some of our customers and our directors are a bit sensitive to storing email outside of the UK. So Cobweb with their London service was an ideal solution. When we suffered our failure, I thought, well, we're going to take a while to bring the on-site premise back up, the on-site Exchange back up. So I gave Cobweb a call. We were already talking with them, and I wondered if they could help us recover more quickly. Superb response. We knew that, or we had hoped, that hosted Exchange was going to be good, but within half a day, we had some of the emergency mailboxes up and provisioned. By the end of day one, we had our MX records redirected and a fully functional mail flow for all our key personnel. At the end of the next day, so 48 hours, we had all of our mailboxes up and running. We were reloading our data back up onto the London cloud with Cobweb's help. So server crash morning of day one, emergency mail in place end of day one, and all mail back up into day two. Wow. That is power. That's flexible.
Awesome. And Andrew, that's a remarkable story. Obviously, you're dealing with customers who are in the financial industry who are a little bit more conservative and are concerned about security. So you're basically throwing a cloud-based solution to them without, very quickly. How did you make the sale? Or was, as they say, the proof was in the pudding already? The fact that you were able to solve this problem so quickly using an Office 365 solution meant that they were convinced right from the beginning.
Well, we had a concern, as I said before we started, with the security of data in the cloud. It was something we had to look into. Our industry in the UK, as it is in the States, is very heavily regulated. So moving to cloud was a decision that we gave a lot of thought. We therefore, as I said, we wanted a UK-based solution really. The OneDrive for Business solution, the options for link and transfer, it's something we might look at later. But for now, we wanted to use hosted Exchange with a UK base. And we're also considering the encrypted file transmission and encrypted email that Cobweb can provide.
And this is the first time you've actually offered a service in the cloud to your customers, I understand.
Yes, we're beginning to offer a service now where we can do secure file exchange through the cloud system.
Great. So Julian, for you to be able to pivot that quickly and respond to an emergency is quite amazing.
Yeah, I think the Cobweb is used to onboarding many, well, sort of 6,000 or 7,000 customers on Cobweb's own services today. But Andrew and his company were one of the first CSP customers we had. So it was very early days in terms of getting that enabled. So fully Office 365, access to Office.com, downloading the clients, getting them installed over a few weeks after the initial emergency. All of that has gone forward with the support and help of Cobweb.
Kelly, I see you nodding vociferously there. I feel it's probably a good news story for you.
No, to me, it's music to my ears to hear how quickly you all at Cobweb were able to sort of jump in and help a customer out who is in a really bad spot. I mean, I'm sure folks in the room can relate. I mean, when people's email go down, it's really mission critical for a bunch of different reasons. And so it's exciting to hear how quickly you guys were able to respond to their need and leverage CSP as part of that solution.
And Scott, have you had similar scenarios with your own customers where you've been able to make the sale, that you've been able to prove to them the robustness of this new platform makes complete sense to them, and they're willing to make that push, that switch?
Sure. I mean, it's not the way you would want to sell hosted services. It's not really a business strategy, but yeah, we've certainly had that experience. I think we serve close to 50,000 customers today, so very little that we haven't seen. And I think Julian's story really highlights some of the magic that's in this room. I mean, these are things, what Cobweb did in that situation, these are things that Microsoft is not really in the same position to do. This is certainly one piece of the opportunity in CSP. I think it's a small piece, but agility and speed, don't bet against it.
Yeah, and now that you've made the transition, and in your case, the transformation, Julian, Scott, what are you looking at now? What are you seeing as new opportunities using Office 365 in the cloud?
Well, on Monday, shortly after I got off the plane here, I had the pleasure of getting an email from one of our business analysts to let me know that we had officially provisioned our 100,000th paying
Fantastic.
Office 365 user. So I'm going to retire.
You're done.
I'm done. As I said, we're very interested in moving up the technology stack, very excited about what our partners and people in this room will be able to do with these powerful and really, I think, pro services heavy implementations of CRM and Azure solutions. I think there's a lot of potential to build interesting and compelling new solutions that run on Azure that don't exist today. That can be pulled off the shelf easily for especially the SMB. I think there's a tremendous amount of innovation that can happen there. I think, on some level, it's just going to be more for us, but I think that a year from now, we'll be able to tell maybe one or two more interesting stories than today.
Great. And Julian, now that you're so confidently facing the future and in the future, where do you see yourselves going now with Cobweb?
We want to be the key one-stop shop for the small businesses in the UK, to both through partner channels and direct. Cobweb believes it understands small business by being one, and also has the locale and the interest in developing those small businesses to realize their potential about what they could be. We feel many businesses, very small ones and medium-sized ones, are being trapped with the inability to get what they need out of IT. I think now the cloud is moved forward so far that at long last some of the promise of the last 20 years of IT can be delivered.
Yeah, no, Kelly, I mean, you're enabling all of this.
Yeah.
Even seeing these remarkable new features as you think about where you're going and what you have to offer to these two particular companies with these new features. What do you think? What
Yeah,
do
no,
you
it's
believe?
very exciting, and Scott, you started to touch on this. We're going to bring together sort of Azure, EMS, Power BI, these other services, but in particular, I get excited about the Azure plus these other finished services opportunities, because I think there's just a tremendous opportunity for the CSP partners to either build apps on top of Azure that integrate deeply with Office 365 or source apps from other places, other ISVs, but stitch together more complete solutions and be that sort of local provider for the customer. And so I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity here that's coming by bringing all these cloud services together in one program for our partners.
Well, I think it's a great optimistic way to conclude a great optimistic conversation. So I'd like to thank you, Scott, Julian, and Kelly. And if we can bring Andrew back up just so we can goodbye to him, because he stayed up so late over there in the UK to talk to us and share his great stories. Thank you very much, guys. That was great. Thanks.